So maybe to kick things off, why do you think it's important for us to know about our body and how it functions and all the systems that are associated with it?
Okay, well, here we go. Yes, the human body is dynamic. It's constantly changing, and it's constantly searching for the right nutrients to maintain itself properly and to prevent disease and degenerative conditions. So this is what we need to do, is to learn about the human body and learn what food actually does and what the difference is between healthy food and unhealthy food, things to about the nutrients that are in the food and things like that. So all of this is very, very fundamental for optimal health.
And obviously, even though this book focuses on the APL nutraceutical drops, we can't lose sight of the fact, right, that we've got to consider everything that we ingest in terms of whole foods, other supplements, and that type of thing, and that's what you're addressing here, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so the APL drops, we'll get into this a little more, if not today, then certainly with subsequent podcasts and videos. But we have to understand what the drops do in the body. And yes, they're the best supplement that I have found in the 40 years of evaluating supplements and recommending supplements to people. It's all about absorbability. It's all about 100% bioavailability. How well does the body utilize the nutrients that you're taking in the form of supplements? So we have to realize that the APL drops are 100% absorbable, and they're rapidly assimilated in the body. So this is the kind of thing that we need to distinguish, is the difference between a supplement that may or may not be absorbable, and in fact be inflammatory in the body and cause more of a cascade reactive inflammatory response. But the APL drops are the safest, most 100% absorbable form of supplement because of the technology that the company has acquired from, 30 years of scientific study from scientists in Italy.
European and American scientists,
yes,
that's correct.
Yes,
yep.
Exactly. So this is a long time in the making to develop a supplement that is so rapidly absorbable, 100% absorbable, and therefore very, very effective. The book lists the 80 botanicals and all of the health attributes of those botanicals. I spent many, many months researching and delving into the scientific literature in universities and government databases all over the world. So there is a massive amount of scientific research on these botanicals and how they help the body function optimally.
Okay, so I want you to stay with us because you talk about bioavailability, absorbability. Well, aren't all supplements doing that?
No.
Okay.
Because supplements are synthetic sometimes, and even the whole food supplements, if you're having digestive issues and then your body tries to break it down like it would food, and a lot of these nutrients aren't absorbable because they're not in their whole food form. So that requires a lot of other nutrient factors that are found in whole foods, but when you break things down and you put them in a little tablet, they're not going to be as absorbable. Some supplements are better than others, but there's hardly ever a 100% absorbability factor.
Okay, and when you talk about absorbability, absorbable where?
Aha, good question. That was the next thing. Yes, okay, so your body, if you're taking in food, then your body has to break down those huge molecules through the digestive process. So by the time that these nutrients are broken down to the point where they fit through your cell membranes in your stomach lining and other areas of the body where you're able to absorb nutrients. Okay, that's the key, is how well is your body able to break down those nutrients and fit them through the very distinguishing cell membrane. There are a lot of identification factors that are sitting on the cell membrane. Now we're talking about something that's extremely tiny. You can barely see it. So we've got trillions of those living active cells in the body. Okay, so we need to be able to absorb those nutrients so that they get inside the cell, which is where all the manufacturing sites are in the body. Okay, so we've got the protein manufacturing sites, the fats that are utilized and transformed into body tissues. We've got the carbohydrates. All of these nutrient factors work together in synergy to generate new tissues, to repair DNA damage, cellular damage, increase the innate capacity for healing, such as the immune system.
Yep.
So all of these factors have to be played. Have to be taken into account when we're putting something in our bodies. And so the drops do a lot of that work for us. They're immediately assimilable right through the cell membrane. It's as if the cell membrane say, come right in, royalty is here. Because we eat so many, well, most people do. I don't. I teach this stuff. Okay, so yes, we have to make sure that we are absorbing these nutrients so that our bodies can do the work. And our genetic instructions in our genetic code, in the DNA, will know what to do. Unless that cell is damaged, then it won't know what to do. Those gene sequences are very, very important for providing the information needed to do all of the repair and regenerative work in the body.
But what exactly is a nutraceutical? How would you define that? As opposed to, say, a supplement,
right?
Or something like that, or a vitamin, for example. Yeah.
As far as the nutritional supplements industry goes, a nutraceutical only came about in the last 10, 15 years. Yeah. And it's a whole new classification of supplements. Normally, supplements are consisting of vitamins and minerals. Nowadays, companies they're doing their scientific homework, and they're realizing, hey, let's put some whole food factors in our supplements, okay? So once you have, and a lot of companies are using superfoods, what are considered superfoods. So they go beyond the normal vitamin mineral type of actions. Okay, vitamins and minerals, of course, are essential. The body cannot manufacture them, so we need them. But a lot of the botanicals in our formulations contain phytonutrients, and there are literally thousands and thousands, and I'm not exaggerating. I came up with at least 25,000 phytonutrients. These are plant chemicals that are present. They're the fluids in plants that are so beneficial to the human body. They do a number of things which I outline in the book and in the monographs that I develop for every single formulation, for every single botanical ingredient. I also list not only the vitamins and minerals, but the phytonutrients and how they act in the body to protect the body, protect your health. They actually do a lot of repair work at the cell level. And so they'll take in and they'll splice in their own DNA segments, and the body will the DNA will be able to recognize those segments and replace it into our own DNA. It's like a splicing action that actually takes place. So that's what a nutraceutical is. It does more than just fuel the body. It actually does repair work at the DNA level. A lot of people see a pill and they say, okay, what is it going to do for me, right? Okay, so again, nutrients repair and regenerate our living cells, and they help the replication process so that every cell that's replicated is replicated correctly, so nothing goes wrong or very little goes wrong as time goes on, because that's the natural aging process. But we can prolong the aging process. We can prevent the disease process by making sure that we have the right nutrients, okay? The difference between a nutrient and a drug, see, I'm not a medical doctor, and I don't prescribe, I don't treat, I don't diagnose, I don't have that kind of education. But I have had plenty of clients over the 40 years that I have been a consultant. And when they tell me what drugs they are taking, we look it up together and we see the side effects of the drugs. I don't know exactly how drugs work, but I have a certain idea, because what they do is they shut off certain mechanisms, usually at the cell membrane, where the information is received and perceived. So if we turn off a biochemical reaction or biological action, then it covers up the symptoms. Okay, drugs rarely heal and allow the cells to function well again, to function properly again. Okay, so nutrients do that. They go inside the cell. The DNA says, I recognize that molecule, so I will use that to repair.
So in other words, it's almost like the APL drops reverse that, if you will.
I don't know. Over the years, when I've had clients get well from all variety of health ailments, all I did was teach them how to nourish their bodies. And their cells recognized the molecular information and did the repair work, and so they got well. And so that's what nutrients do. Whereas drugs, they seem to turn off mechanisms so that you turn off symptoms. But the body also is trying to understand what's going on. So it has a lot of other augmenting and balancing effects. Okay, so it'll go through and it'll try to compensate for what's missing, for what it doesn't understand. So it goes around a different route, so to speak, and that's what causes a lot of side effects.
Maybe the right word wasn't reverse, but what APL drops will do is more naturally and proactively address the situations in the body that perhaps wouldn't necessarily be advisable by a drug necessarily. I don't give any advice as far as whether to take a drug or not.
Sure. What happens when I do a consultation with people, they normally get well and they go back to their doctors, and their doctors say, well, keep doing what you're doing great. And they usually wean them off the medication. So if someone goes off their medications, there could be severe side effects. So I always do that under medical care. Yeah. But I found that my clients got well because their bodies were so nourished that their DNA information was corrected,
right.
and so cells began to function correctly once more. That means healing. That is the healing process, when your cells start functioning correctly. And when we consider how much sugar is in each drop, there is 4 grams of sugar in the drop, and it's not all white sugar. The reason they use white sugar is it's the only sugar because of its molecular structure that will crystallize. And so in order to form the hardened candies
that you put in your mouth,
that you
right?
put in your mouth,
right.
And it's completely absorbable
right.
underneath the tongue, so it's sublingual. So yes, the industry, and when I did some research on the whole entire industry, it's like common knowledge that whenever you want to form a hardened candy, then you have to use white sugar.
Gotcha.
And that's the only thing. So actually it's 1.7 grams of white sugar per each drop. And the other sugars, the other 3 are...
And I would assume that's negligent.
I'm getting to that, yes.
Okay.
The other grams of sugars are from the botanicals themselves, the natural sugars that are in the fruits and things like that. So, yes. But also the botanicals contain anti-inflammatories, blood sugar regulating, phytonutrients, and minerals, and vitamins, and enzymes. So it does. It just creates a net effect of being very, very negligible, including people who have been taking the drops with diabetes. They don't notice a spike in their blood sugar unless they've been eating other sugary foods and they happen to pop 4 or 5 drops all at one time. I know of one incident that happened. But so I said, well, what else was he eating? The drops should not have done that, right? Because they have blood sugar regulating effects that are very effective. And not one, in the 7 years that the company's been in business, not one dental carie has been reported because of the antibacterial qualities of the botanicals in the drops.
Okay.
So I really, if it means, it's either that or have it in powder form or capsule form, and that has a compliancy rate that is way, way down. People love the beautiful, delicious little candies, and I don't even call them candies because to me, they are major nutritious little supplements, okay? And so, there's, to me, that sold me on it because I am against a lot of sugar. People get obese on sugar, or they get cancers and all sorts of other syndromes, health syndromes from eating too much sugar. So I had a real problem with that, but it was organic and a couple of grams. And when I did the research on every one of our 80 different botanicals in our 14 formulations, I thought, there's no problem here,
Well, but I think what's nice and what our audience needs to understand is you don't sidestep it. You address it right up front.
Yes. Yeah. People have reported, feeling sleepy or breaking out into a rash and things like that, and that's the detoxification process.
That's
the
it.
skin is the largest gland in the body. It's one of the eliminative channels. In addition to the bowels and the lymph nodes and the kidneys, So we've got 5 eliminative channels, right? And the skin is one of the major ones. So if there's any kind of toxicity in the body, say exposure to synthetic chemicals in household products or cosmetics or spraying pesticides or being exposed to things in the chemicals in the workplace, things like that. Those are all fat soluble, which means your body retains them in your tissues, and those things can be retained in the brain as well and affect the nervous system. So we've got a lot of disorders that that have neurodegenerative problems.
So it could be it's a natural response that there could be.
Yeah, I mean, the detox process should be gentle. I've never advocated any kind of really severe detoxification problems. If you start cleaning up your diet and taking the drops, your body will adjust.
Perfect.
And it should be a gradual, comfortable process, you know.
And of course, you keep taking the drops, every day. As you
Yes, your
progress
body
through it.
needs these nutrients,
Right.
not just every day, but every few hours. So that's why when we eat, when we get hungry, the body's saying, all right, I'm depleted, I need to be replenished. And what we replenish it with is very, very critical. Yes, they are the corrective fluids in plants that help people's cells function normally again. So they do a lot of corrective things in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Vitamins and minerals, they are involved in a lot of biological processes. They're more involved in the energy-producing processes, but there are many phytochemicals or phytonutrients that actually assist in the cell's energy-generating capacity as well. So the difference between phytonutrients and phytochemicals, there's no difference. It's just that in science, they call them phytochemicals. Phyto meaning from the sun, and chemicals meaning what the plants put molecules together to build their own body fluids,
Right.
which are the plant chemicals.
Right.
Plant cells and human cells are so similar. It's just uncanny. Okay, a plant cell, their outer membrane is the hard the fiber, right?
Sure.
That we also need to sweep our entire digestive system out and keep it clean and functioning optimally. But human cells have a plasma membrane. Okay, but inside the cell, we have the same organelles, the same little organs that are inside each one of our trillions of cells that we can't even see with our own eyes. Just in my finger alone, there's a billion cells, right? Okay, so that's like mind-boggling. But yes, our cells function pretty much the same way. We take in light and we convert it to energy, and we take in nutrients. We have body fluids. Okay, and those oxygenate the tissues, and our cells generate sugars and new proteins. The body is almost all protein, by the way, other than water. So, just about everything the body is made out of proteins. Okay, so we've got thousands and thousands and thousands of proteins in the body, and that means enzymes and hormones, immune cells. Everything is composed of proteins.
So it would seem to me, Esther, that the scientists behind this understand this.
Yes.
And have incorporated in these formulations all of the things that you're talking about because of the incredible similarities between plant cells and human cells.
Yes. That's why we need to eat our vegetables, because we need those plant cells. In fact, in the drops, the technology behind it is so unique. What it does is it actually thins the cell membranes of the plants so that they immediately get released. So we're getting not only the nutrient factors from the plants, but we're getting the DNA from the plant, which is extremely compatible with human cells. So we can take whatever information is in their DNA and use it to correct our own DNA. And that's what's so great about plants.
Right.
So
Right.
there's a lot of things that we can utilize as well from the inside of a plant cell. The most important thing about nutraceutical drops is that they are rapidly assimilated,
Okay.
and they immediately are recognized by human cells as the right stuff, okay, the right molecules to do all the repair work that's needed to maintain the optimal functioning of the cells. And our cells compose our organs and tissues and structures, and the organ systems are there's more than one organ sometimes to a system. So there's like 10 major body systems. So it keeps going up and up at the macro scale. So we're starting at the micro scale where true health happens and true disease is prevented. So that's the most important thing about the drops.